Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Michelle Cunningham here with me today. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm so good. I'm so honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to say hello to all of our viewers who are tuning into the building and people who are out there that can see us who we can't see. People on Roku TV, Apple TV, Android TV, Facebook, or YouTube through the E360 TV network. I want to say hello to everybody and welcome. Michelle, where are you from?
I am from Connecticut. That's where I grew up. But currently, we are living in Florida. We're in between houses right now. So we're living the nomadic lifestyle, which is kind of a funny story in itself.
How are you enjoying a Floridian winter compared to those
I've
who experience in
never
Connecticut?
never experienced this before. We came by way of Ohio. We've lived in Ohio for the past 15 years, so I'm always freezing, and my face always hurts right now when I go outside. And right now
Right.
it doesn't hurt because it's nice and warm. So it's 75 here, and I know that used to anger me when I would be in Ohio and people are like, it's warm. I'm like, I can't even process warmth.
Right.
So we are enjoying it, and it's thankful to COVID because we would have never really been able to pull our kids out and have them homeschool, and we'd have never done that whole thing.
Let's let's incorporate this early. COVID opened up some doors for a lot of people, and it sounds like it opened up some doors for you as well, without you having to manually open them yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID hit, it was March, and I remember saying to my mom, like, my mom lives in North Carolina, and I was like, Mom, it's just like can't really see our friends as much, right? If we're trying to be careful. I've got autoimmune issues, right? So I've got to be careful. COVID's not really something I want to catch or test out.
Right.
And so I said, Mom, maybe we should move closer to you. You know, we can like be our little bubble. So you live in North Carolina, maybe we'll move down there. And the more I got thinking about it, the more I was like, why don't we move? We have no family here in Ohio. It's freezing, and I see no reason why we shouldn't move. And so that got the ball rolling. And by August, we had sold our house and found a new house in North Carolina. And the only challenge is we bought the model home, and the model home, they have to finish using it before you can move into it.
Okay.
So that's our situation right now is the model home's not ready. And so we're like, oh no, we will go to Florida. So that
Right.
so we came down here and we're like, we'll just live here like little nomads. So that's just we've never done this before, but it's
Right.
fantastic. So I'm in a random bedroom in I'm usually like, yeah, I got a whole office set up, but we don't have that right now, and it's fabulous.
Absolutely fabulous. Talk to us about your childhood. Where did you grow up, and what was it like?
Yeah, so I grew up in East Granby, Connecticut. My mom was a single mom. My parents divorced when I was 6 years old. So my brother was 7, I was 6, and my younger brother was 3. And my mom didn't have a job, and so she immediately had to open a daycare in our house and wait tables in the evening. And so I was the different kid in the neighborhood. We were the poor kids. We were the kids
Wow.
who never got a new outfit on the first day of school. I had dirty, ripped cleats. I just always felt different than those around me. And so I come from extremely humble beginnings where our furnace would break and we'd have to go to the church and get food because we were out of money that week. And we would get Christmas gifts from people in our community. And so to say I came from like totally humble beginnings, I just did. And I remember that being something that made me so nervous and shy and introverted for so long because I was so different and felt so different and didn't have money to differentiate myself and like buy cool things
Right.
that I just said, you know what, I'll just be quiet so I don't stand out in any way. And so that was really my childhood. But I learned at about 16 years old, like if I want something, the only way I can get it is if I work for it. There's no handouts, there's no money in my family, like
Right.
none of that. So I opened a lawn mowing business at like 13, and I, mowed people's lawns, and I worked at a candy store, and I babysat everybody, everything. I watched dogs, and then I worked at Dunkin' Donuts. I literally always was working because that was the only way that I could afford to fit in, right? If I wanted to have a new outfit, I had to work. And so I learned from a young age, if it's to be, it's up to me. And so that was my childhood.
You obviously became a women's empowerment expert.
One could
Um,
say.
I that's where it sounds like the natural pinnacle of your journey was going to be. that you're in a position where you can empower others in general, but women is what you chose to specialize in based on your biography. And I think that you have all the makings of a motivator. You've been through experiences that built character in you, but then you pushed on to get into elite levels of achievement, networking, and business growth. Before we get into those latter chapters of your life, I want to unpack some of the things that you mentioned earlier. What was it like for you when your parents separated? How did you cope, and how did that manifest in your life and your behaviors at 7 years old?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question. I mean, when my parents divorced, it was kind of like one of these tricky things where at that time my mom got sole custody. And so my dad kind of was like forced out of our life. And so I just grew up knowing like I don't have a dad. Um, and it was just it is what it is. It's like when you grow up like that, you that people say, "Aren't you sad you don't have a dad?" I'm like, well, I don't. I know it's just it is what it is for us, right? So my mom was very loving. We didn't have a lot of money, but my mom was very loving, and I feel very blessed by that, right? That love is just about all you need, right? You start to get
Yeah.
things in life and material things, and you realize you don't really need that stuff. And so my mom was super loving, and we always had quality family time, which used to annoy us. We're like, Mom, why do we have to have quality family time? But she just, she made sure we all came together and loved on one another and did things together and went on, we'd go. I remember like certain restaurants had like free family eat night. So she was like, we're going to that, like
Mhm.
anything that was free, we would go to. And so I grew up with like a lot of very cool experiences, but I didn't get to do the things the rich kids did, which was to get to go, to pay for gymnastics or swim lessons or dance or anything. That like that's the rich people stuff, right?
Were you
You go
were
to
you
cooking.
were you in an area where you saw other kids doing those types of activities?
Yeah, so I grew up in
Okay.
a upper to middle class area. So
Mhm.
that's what had it been in like an area where everyone around me was the same, it would have been different, right? But it
Right.
was a very in Connecticut's just very wealthy to begin with, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, it just was difficult because there was such an emphasis on, oh, I've got my LL Bean backpack and I'm driving
Right.
my Volvo to school. And I'm like, I'm driving the wood paneled station wagon that like I
Mhm.
borrowed from my mom,
Right.
like
The
so it was
Merc,
just like,
the
hey,
Merc,
I
the Merc,
stand
the
out.
Merc Woody. Yeah, the
Oh
Merc
yeah.
Woody.
Yeah.
But I want to know, did you start to wonder what the world held for you? When did you start to wonder, who you would be in this world, and how you would get there? When did you start those kind of introspective conversations with yourself?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'd say like at 6 years old, I recognized that we didn't have money. Like I remember watching my mom crying, trying to pay bills. I remember being at the ATM and there was only $13 to take out and you had to be able to take out 20 or more. We couldn't get money out. And so I just knew like I don't know how we're gonna get out of this, but I want to have money when we're older. Because it seems like the people that have money have choices that I do not have. Like they don't have to sell magazines to go on the field trip, but I'm out hustling doors just to get someone to pay.
At 6 years old, you were thinking about the life that you and your family lived, and how you were going to change your life and grow a life for yourself at 6 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ladies and
Totally.
gentlemen, I want us to take a moment and think about the 6 year olds in our lives, the 7 year olds, the 8 year olds, and realize the capacity of what could actually be going through their minds. For Michelle, at 6 or 7 years old, she was thinking about the phone calls that she saw her mother having, the experiences that she saw her mother having at the ATM, and how she wanted to change her life at 6 years old. So let that be a part of your thought process when you think about, how do I have conversations with my 6 year old? What is my 6 year old ready to talk about? My 7 year old ready to talk about? I'm learning today that they're ready to talk about life. They're ready to talk about the future. They're ready to talk about how to make money. Your 6 year old is ready to talk about money, how to make it, how to grow it, and then how to build a life. So I find that very interesting. I want to acknowledge all of the 6 and 7 and 8 year olds who might be watching tonight. I've got nieces and nephews younger siblings who could be watching this tonight. You would have family out there. We all have young people out there who could be watching this. I want to say hi to little William Jr., hi to Alexis, anyone else who's out there watching this. How about you say hi to some kids who could be watching as well?
Well, I got my 9-year-old. It's his birthday today, so he knew when Mommy get off the live, we're going to dinner. So I've got a 9-year-old and I've got a 5-year-old little daughter, and they're always thinking business. You know,
Happy birthday!
Thanks.
What's your 9-year-old's name?
His name is Brady. Sometimes they'll pop in. They just come running through the door to say hi. So you may meet them.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this episode, I want you to drop a happy birthday, Brady, into the chat. So maybe you can come back here and see that we're thinking about him. We're thinking about our youth, our 6, 7, and 8-year-olds. We're thinking about them. Now, you became a go-getter based off of what you saw your mother striving through. When did you first begin to get out there with the mind of entrepreneurship?
Well, I grew up hearing from my mom that in order to become wealthy, you need to have money. And so I didn't grow up in a family that believed that you could really do that. And so entrepreneurship came into my life when I was 21 years old. I read a book that was a pivotal book in my life. It was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's by Robert Kiyosaki. I remember my friend who I was best friends with, still I'm dear friends with today, messaged me and said, hey, I just read this book. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I feel like you would like it. And so I read that book and it just was oh my gosh, yes, this is so my thing. And the biggest thing I took away from that is that there are 3 ways to make money and to become wealthy, and it's not working for someone else. And I was like, oh, is that so? Because I'm working for someone else right now. But he basically said in there, you can own real estate. If you've got a little bit of money, you can invest in real estate. Number 2, you can start your own business, a small business. Takes a little bit of capital to start a business. Or number 3, if you don't have any money, you can get into network marketing and learn business in network marketing. And I was like, well, 1's out, 2's out. I'm going to have to be network marketing. And so I remember thinking, I don't know what that is, but maybe I could do that one day. And that started my brain thinking.
There was a seed planted into your psyche in your early 20s that you decided to nurture into what is now a money tree in your life.
Yep.
How did you perform? I want to say hi to everybody. Hey Tracy, hey Deborah, hey Yolanda, hey Chastity. We see you all out there. Feel free to drop questions and comments into this conversation, and we'll put them on the screen and we'll field them as well. Now, what did your performance look like in middle school? Were you getting straight A's? What was going on socially? Paint that picture for me.
Yeah, I was always a good grade getter. I just never liked getting bad grades. I don't like getting bad anything, right? So, yeah, so I always got good grades, A and B's, mostly A's. I once got 1 C in college. I'm still mad about it. Logic. Stupid class. But no, middle school, I was just I was awkward and weird. There was girls that were got along with the guys and were cool, and I was just awkward and weird. And I'll never forget Mr. Cheever. He was our science teacher. I was trying to get the guys to talk to me, trying to be their friend. And he's like, Michelle, because they were just leave me alone. You're so annoying. Because I was trying to find my way socially. He's like, Michelle, what if you just leave the guys alone? And I remember being I'm just trying to fit in, but I was super awkward. 7th and 8th grade, I hated. There was such that social pressure to fit in, yet I was so poor and so different than everyone around me. And so those were really hard years for me. And when someone tells me they're in 7th or 8th grade, I feel sick. I'm oh man, that was really hard years.
Yeah.
But you'll get through it. Don't worry, but it was very hard years for me. Probably because I just internalized so much, and I always felt different than everyone around me. And maybe it wasn't as bad as I made it out to be. Now being confident like I am now, man, I would have run through 7th and 8th grade, but I was so insecure that it was really difficult for me.
Did those years become inspiration, fuel, as you got older and from high school to college? Those years of middle school, did they become a fuel for you going forward?
Yeah, totally. I feel that struggle made me so much stronger, and over the years made me realize man, I could have handled that so differently. I could have been so different had I been confident, but I'm glad I went through it, because you have to go through all of those tough things to become the person that you want to become, and to be able to share the stories to help other people. And so every single hard thing that's happened in my life has been great, because when I meet someone else going through that, it's like, oh yeah, I had that same thing. Here's what I did. So it's really important that we have those. And I always say in my head, if he sees you to it, he'll bring you through it. And so it's just like this reminder that like you're gonna have some difficult stuff, but you'll get through it. We all
Sure.
have difficult stuff. It's just
That's right.
life. Yeah.
Did you ever wonder, where's my dad in all this? Am I able to reconnect with him?
Yeah, so it was interesting because he was like out of our life, and then like legally out of our life by the court system. So we weren't allowed to really reach out. And I'll never forget, at 18, someone passed away. I don't even remember who, but we went to a funeral and he was there. And we got to like meet him again. I was like, oh my gosh, like, hey, dad, are you my dad? Do I say dad? But we had been so out of touch for so many years. And he's just a nice guy, and nowadays we are reconnected again. When his father passed away, which is my grandfather and my grandmother, we went to the funeral, my two brothers and I. We brought our kids, and just kind of our way of saying like, hey, we still love you. And saw him and went out to dinner, and it was all very like cordial. And now we are connected on text and email. So he sends me emails to say, how are the kids? So as much as we don't totally know each other, I send him pictures of the kids, and he says, oh my gosh, they look great. I'm so proud of you. I'm like, thanks. So we are reconnected again. And I think that's really important, and at the end of the day, like, I think for so many years I was like, man, poor me, like, we don't have a dad in our life. But now I realize, like, just like when you really start to put yourself in his shoes, like, gosh, I feel bad for him that like he lost custody of us, right? And there's different stories of what happened, but he lost custody of us. And I feel sad for him because he missed all those memories, right? He
Hmm.
missed so much of that. I look at it from that standpoint now, like as an adult, where I'm like, gosh, like my kids are 5 and 8. Like for my husband to lose custody and not see those kids ever again, like that's a very sad thing. So I have much more of like a heart for him, and
Right.
feel for kind of what he went through. So yeah, so it's great to be reconnected. And maybe when COVID's over, we've been talking about getting together and like talking about what happened, because we don't honestly really know.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah.
Now there are young ladies out there who don't have a father in their life. They might have even read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, but they could still use a message from someone like yourself who's on the other side, in terms of getting somewhere in life. Could you take a few seconds and speak to them?
Yeah, totally. I think the biggest thing is that no matter who you have or don't have in your life, like our life is up to us, right? And so I could have sit around and been so sad, but it wasn't going to change anything. Like, I don't overthink, and I recommend for you, don't overthink things that you can't change. If thinking about it's not going to change it, don't waste your energy thinking about it. And so I couldn't think about bringing my dad back into my life. So I had to kind of take like okay, that's what it is. Let's move on to what I can control. And that
Hmm.
is working really hard in school. That's getting great grades. That is working hard at jobs so I can make money, so I can pay for college. It was all about how can I move myself forward, because I'm on a mission and I'm
That's
going
right.
to change my life. But I'm not anything that happened in my life, thinking about it's not going to change it. So we're going to let that go. That's what I would say.
I've had conversations with people who said, I have roadblocks in my life because of whether it be my social status, my financial status, just my space. People put roadblocks in my space. Have you had any roadblocks along the way because you were a woman, or for any other reason? Talk about a time when somebody put a roadblock up for you and how you dealt with it.
Yeah, I think I've had tons of roadblocks over the years. I mean, just rejection, right? Like,
Yep.
or things that have failed that we've put out into the world or whatever. And so I definitely have had roadblocks. I mean, there was colleges I think I applied to that I got rejected to,
Hmm.
right? There was jobs I applied to that I didn't get. There's been people I've tried to been friendly with and they're mean.
Yeah.
And then, I eventually moved into network marketing, and that's just like, if you want to deal with rejection and roadblocks, join network marketing, because that's just like a bucket of that. But all of that rejection and all of those roadblocks, every time I got to them, I learned to get over them. And initially, it took me a bit of time to get over each roadblock and each rejection and each hardship. But over time, the more you get, the more you're like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And so you just start shoving this stuff out of the way. It's like, I am on a mission. And so
Right.
it's like you need to have those to give you more confidence and to give you the skills to overcome them. So sometimes people think, I'm just waiting to become confident before I'll get started. And I would say, how about get started to gain the confidence?
That's
Get
right.
started and have the roadblocks and shove those things out of the way to then
Mhm.
get to the next place. It's so important. That's how we grow. That's how I became who I am today, was because I have faced a lot of roadblocks and a ton of rejection. And I realized I'm actually stronger for it. It made me like turn into steel.
Mhm.
Whereas before I was like a feather.
One of the aspects that I think is tremendous about your story today is the way that you embrace roadblocks, and I want to encourage other people to not just get over a roadblock, but start looking for them. Go out and find a roadblock before the roadblock finds you. Become proactive about the roadblocks and make that your leg day. See, a lot of people they know they need to work out in life, but there's certain areas that they avoid because it's a little bit tougher. Leg day, the squat, the power clean of progress is dealing with roadblocks, dealing with the no, dealing with I don't think this is for you, dealing with how about I redirect you otherwise of your mission. You develop new muscles when you take the roadblocks head on. When you eat roadblocks for breakfast. When you take rejection and transform it into acceptance. However, it's got to be transformed into acceptance. I know a woman who's also powerful, and she always asks, "Okay, so how can we move forward? How can we move forward?" That's always her perspective. How can we move forward? Okay, we can't do it this way, but can we do it another way?
Right.
So don't accept roadblocks. And not only should you not accept roadblocks, it should be because you're getting in front of them and you're dealing with them. Deal with the roadblocks, and it
Yep.
makes you stronger. Now, who exactly are you today, Michelle Cunningham?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I ended up getting involved in network marketing and spent 17 years in the industry. So the first 6 years, I was too nervous and too shy to get started. So I didn't do very well. And then at 29 years old, I was fed up enough with my corporate job. I was fed up enough with my life and wanting to really build like an entrepreneur kind of life, right? Entrepreneurship really appealed to me. And I decided to go all in with network marketing. I was a home party rep. I sold skincare and makeup to people at their homes. And I started to do that. And at 29 years old, and 6 months after getting started and finally finding a mentor that showed me the way, I earned a free car from the company and started to build people on my team and got hundreds of customers. And that over the years grew to tens of thousands of customers and over 1,000 people that were part of my team. And so that grew me into having a six-figure per year business, working from home while I raised my kids. And about 18 months ago, I have been with that company for 17 years. But 18 months ago, God said to me, "Hey, I think that you should train people on a bigger level. I think you should start like a training program for people in network marketing and really serve the industry." And I'd been feeling that because I had a YouTube channel that was serving a lot of people and a lot of people on my email list that I was serving. And so I honored that calling. I actually left the industry, which was pretty crazy because we were an awesome team on fire doing amazing things. There was not really going to be a good time to leave, but I left and now I'm a full-time network marketing coach. So I teach people, I teach women specifically how to have more success. Even if you're introverted, you come from a broken home, you come from humble beginnings, it doesn't matter. And I just released a book, which became an international bestseller, which was crazy and awesome and pinch me kind of thing. But also, I don't share that ever to impress someone, to impress upon you that if I wrote a best-selling book, you can write a best-selling book. And so launched this book for network marketers, called it Do It Anyway, Girl, and helps women realize their greatness. And so today I run a seven-figure online brand and I help people step into their greatness and own their awesome. And I always tell people, show up louder, prouder, bolder, and in charge, and your life will change. And that's really my mission is is just that.
Your best-selling book is called Do It Anywhere, Girl.
Yeah, do it anyway, girl. I should have a copy. Oh, it's right here. I'll show you a little picture of it.
Okay.
Do it anyway, girl. That's my new book.
Wow. Where can
Yeah.
people find that book? Where can people find it?
This is on Amazon, and the ebook actually just launched today, ironically. So the paperback's available and the ebook's available. The paperback's $9.99. The ebook is $4.99. So that's my new book that's out, which is kind of exciting and awesome.
All right. If you would, please come back at the end of the show and drop the link to your book in the comment section so that people can check it out. Faye Novick dropped the heart emoji for you. And before we go into break, I just want to share some things regarding your book and your cause. Women are the central force in our families, in our communities, and therefore in our world. Women are a big deal. And so your decision to empower women, it resonates for me in regards to my mother, my sisters, my cousins, my family members, my friends. You empower women. You are a hero. You're stepping into a particular gap to do some of the most important work that can possibly be done in our society today. And what I'm hearing from you is that people can get in touch with you for mentorship, for coaching, no matter how they might be feeling. Meaning, if you're stressed out, if you're having trouble seeing the way, if it's difficult for you to figure out how to chart a path to your future, there's hope for you. There's help for you by way of Michelle Cunningham. And I think that that's absolutely phenomenal. In a time where we're losing so many people, including women, because of the stress of the era that we're in. You've got 444,000 youth in a foster care system because so many mothers did not have a coach. So many mothers did not have the connection that they needed in order to 10x their productivity in life. I appreciate your work. Ladies and gentlemen, go out there and find her ebook, her book in general. Do it anyway, girl, because this is the type of work that we need to support. You have a last thought before we go to the break?
I would just remind everybody, I always say this: successful women feel the fear and do it anyway. That's on my heart. And that's what I tell everybody is no matter what you're going through, just do it afraid. And that's what I've done in my entire journey.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more from Michelle Cunningham after this brief message. America's Next Motivator, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network. And we're back. Michelle, how you feeling out there?
Well, I feel like I'm a celebrity on this show. There's a lot going on. It's so cool. My friends were just writing, "This is so cool." I'm like, I know it is. This is so cool.
we do have some comments in the building. Faye Novick says, I'm reading her book now. It's really inspirational. Tracy says, OMG, this is awesome. And you know, I want to get right back into this. And I want to dig into this for people to understand that this is not just a commercial conversation. While you are very real, you have success in your life, you can help other women to gain success as well. I want the person who's driving along the freeway listening to this conversation to understand that you're the real deal. You are the real deal. Can you talk to me about a time when you felt like you weren't there yet. You felt like you weren't where you wanted to go. In other words, you didn't have the money in your account yet. You didn't have the clientele yet. And all you had was, like you said, your fear of moving forward. Talk about that moment, the fear, and how you moved forward with it.
Yeah, I think a really pivotal moment in my life was at 29 years old. I was working as a commercial real estate agent in an office with fancy men in their fancy suits and driving their fancy cars with their fancy watches. And I remember thinking, gosh, I just don't know if this is what I want to do. Like, commercial real estate's very cutthroat and it's very male dominated and very competitive. And I remember like closing a big deal and going into the lunchroom and like the guys just like stared at me. And they're like, I heard you closed the deal. And I'm like, yeah, thinking in my head, someone get me a crown. But they were so like just not nice.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I just closed the deal. No big deal. I'm like, I'm awesome, but I can't say that. And it was just so weird. And there wasn't this like, let me cheer for you. Let me love on you. And I had been exposed enough to network marketing at that point to realize that network marketing was a bit different. The people in network marketing were weirdly happy for everyone. Like they would cheer for everything. And I started to like get into that world and realize that the corporate world is just not like that. Like no one was happy when I closed a deal. And it was at that moment that I was like, you know what? This does not feel right. And I want to have kids one day and I don't want to have to drive to this office and like do this job with these arrogant people that were not celebrated. And I just remember thinking, this is not where I want to be. And what was lucky about that year was it was 2009. And that's just when the real estate market had crashed. And so luckily I stopped closing deals, which meant I had stopped making money, which meant I needed to find money. And so I ended up going online and found a lady that worked for that network marketing company. And she was very successful. She drove the company Cadillac. She was big deal. And I said, can you show me what to do? Like, I know I'm not on your team, but I need someone to kind of show me what to do. And she said, yeah, come to my meeting. I'll show you what to do. And so after I met her, I went to her training, and then she called me the next week and said, and next week I didn't go back because I was like, I felt like quitting on myself. I felt like I couldn't do network marketing because I had been in it for 6 years. I joined at 23 to 29 and did nothing with it for that whole period because I was too shy.
What is network marketing?
Network marketing is selling a product from another company. So there's usually a big company that then sends all of its reps their products to sell. And so you sell those products. The benefit of being in network marketing is you don't own the entire company, but yet you get to benefit from selling the product. So I would take this product and I'd buy it for $2 from them, but I'd sell it to everyone else for $4. And that is where I made my money. Okay. And so it's a huge industry with lots of people selling lots of different products getting paid. And
did you ever think, wow, I'm a part of this network marketing organization and it's feeling good, but how much better would my life feel if I was the actual CEO of this organization?
Yeah, well, I started to work for that company, had a lot of success, started to make a 6-figure income, but also felt like, man, I could start a company like this. And I was like, no, but I don't want to create products. I don't want to ship product. I didn't want to own an organization. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, what my dream for my life is to impact as many people as possible and change the world while also spending as much time as possible with my family. And so owning a company that was like brick and mortar was not really my dream. And so at 29, I got involved in network marketing, started having success there. That was just working from home. And then it was about 10 years into that I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to own my own company now. Right. And so I started MichelleCunningham.com, which then started to serve women all across the world. And I love that. I love to make videos to help people and help them step into their greatness, because some people play way smaller than they should be playing. And I understand that because I stayed there for like 6 years. Right. But you had asked what a big moment was for me. And I forgot, I got so into my story. 29, that big moment at 29, when I quit that job, I gave up paycheck and went from making relatively great money to making no money, basically overnight. Yep. And I said to my boyfriend at the time, give me 6 months. I'm going to make this thing work. And he's like, you should get a job. And I'm like, how about if I don't do this in 6 months, then I'll get a job. And so when I had to focus everything on making my business, my little business working from home as a network marketer, selling this beauty product, when that was the only option, then I finally got it to work. And I think a lot of people don't make something their only option. They have too many options. So I could make money doing this. I could do this. I could do that. And they don't focus on one thing. And I focused on that one thing and I decided to go all in with it. And 6 months later, it had produced a $5,000 per month income, which then continued to grow from there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, that was a difficult time to go from like, I have no money, I'm really broke.
Right.
But I was willing to take a step back. They say that a true entrepreneur will work for 1 year like nobody does, so they can live for the rest of their life like nobody can.
That's right. It's this moment right here where you resonate with millions of women around the country, even more women around the world. That moment where you say, the world is changing, and who will I be in the changing world? Am I going to be someone who lives in the shadows of suited men? Or am I going to be a woman who steps out into the increasingly virtual world to figure out how to stamp my identity out there? And I want women out there to know that there is room for you too.
Yeah.
There's room for your .com. There's room for your business. There is room for you in the auditorium of all stars. There's room for you. We need you. The world is a better place when women say, you know what? Let me go out there and get what's for me. The world becomes a better place.
Yep.
The world becomes a better place. I want somebody to make a change in their life today. I want somebody to become even more of a star, of a rock in our society today. Today. Make that change today. It's no longer the case that we want all men to go out there and be the sole success of the family and the community. Absolutely not. We want our women, and when I say we, I'm talking about me, my heart, and my mind, and my eyes, my eyeballs. I'm talking about all of us, right? We want to see women get out there and be phenomenal as well, not just me by myself. And the world is changing so that women can go out there and claim their stake as well. And we're moving into a virtual era. That's why it's so much more available to you. You don't need anyone's establishment to say, I'm putting you on a specific level. You can start your .com, you can start your business, and then you can take it from there. You can take it from there. Summer Osmond says she is really changing the world for better with her authentic character, positive influence, and kindness.
Thanks, Summer. I love you.
Now, for women who are looking at the computer or their phone or wherever they're watching from, their TV, and they're thinking, well, what does that mean for me today? What could women be doing today to begin to move their life in this independent direction that you did?
I think one of the biggest moves that I made was scary and super bold. Was I decided one day to start a YouTube channel. And I don't know anything about making videos, right? And I was like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. So I went on Google. I mean, I think that's really cool, is that Google and YouTube teach you everything. So if you're like, I don't know how to do something, I'm sorry, everything is figure outable with Google and YouTube. And so I just went on Google and like, how to film a video. Oh, okay, just use my phone. Okay. And I filmed my first video. How to edit it. Oh, iMovie. Okay. So I just like figured it out by Googling free things and edited my first video. I learned I should put a little intro in the beginning. So I made this little spinning logo and put a little outro, and I loaded that video up. And such a crazy turning point in my life, because that night I loaded that video and I went to bed, and it was just some training on how to be successful in network marketing. Nothing novel. It was something I was doing every day. I woke up the next morning and there was 10 messages in my inbox. And they were like the messages we're seeing in the comments here, where people were like, oh my gosh, this was so good. Like, thank you so much. And I was like, what? This wasn't that good. I didn't think, but 10 people aren't going to just lie, right? And I was like, I was just sleeping and I helped people. That was fantastic. I'm like, that's a really good use of time. I should make more videos, because I was like, how cool that I can make this one asset that's now going to run forever and help people. And I was like, that's so addicting. And then they're telling me I'm awesome. That's even more addicting. And so I started to make more videos. I said, I'll commit to one video a week. And so I just put one video a week out there. And that simple action, inadvertently led to a social media following that grew exponentially more than I ever thought it could have, and is still growing today and helping people. And that really was always my mission, is how can I help as many people as possible? And video is that secret tool. And if you're like, I don't know how to do YouTube, I didn't either. And I don't even think I do it perfectly. I don't quite know exactly everything. Today I was trying to figure out keywords. I'm trying to Google and you can optimize your website or something. I don't know it all. And that's okay. It's like, you just test it out. So video is a great way to get started because it builds your confidence. You start to build an online tribe. You start to impact people. You start to have a voice, and you start to realize what people come to you for. When I made videos about this topic, no one was interested. When I made them about this topic, everyone was interested. So they started to tell me what they wanted from me. So I didn't have to really overthink it. So that's the beautiful thing.
What types of equipment do people need to buy in order to start a YouTube channel?
It's a great question. I went live today, not live. I filmed a YouTube video, and my premise of my video was how to film YouTube videos from your phone.
Okay.
Like, that's it, right? Probably the one thing I would recommend is to get a cheap little microphone. You can run a cord here. Okay. Or I recommended in my new YouTube video, a little microphone you can plug in that's Wi-Fi based. You put it right here, and so it gives you better audio, right? I believe that having a microphone, like having this a little closer, I sound a little bit better. Microphone can elevate, but my first YouTube videos where I got the most views, I was sitting in front of my laptop computer like I am right now with a window behind, which is what I've got going on right now. I didn't have a ring light, and I don't have one right now because we're traveling. And that was what I did. So you can literally just start with your phone. It doesn't have to be anything other than that.
Okay. And what would you say was your initial investment? How much money should someone try to raise in order to really get started with, putting their feet out there?
Yeah, I didn't raise any money. So you don't have to do that. You can just start putting your feet out there, just start sharing on a YouTube channel, and you start to build a tribe. And then from there, that tribe started to opt in to I would get their email, right? I'd give them something for free. They'd give me their email. And then I'd serve more free value. And eventually that turned into a brand where these people are like, do you have any courses? Do you have any books? What can I buy from you? And I was like, whoa, you want to buy things from me? That's crazy. But it all starts with just putting out a video, right? And finding your voice and gaining your confidence. And the confidence doesn't come until you do it. You have to take action first,
That's right.
Yeah.
What sorts of courses do you offer?
So I teach people everything from how to brand themselves online. I teach them how to host profitable Facebook Live parties if they're in network marketing. I teach them how to, what else? I got so many different courses. I have some leadership courses for top network marketing leaders.
Okay.
And then I've got CDs that I sell that show people how to generate leads. A lot of the training is network marketing based, like people that own a home business and want to get more leads and sell more and recruit more. That's what my CDs and my book, it's all that kind of stuff.
Now through your branding process and your growth, you've generated a large social media following from some perspectives. How many people are following you on, let's say, Instagram or Facebook or YouTube these days?
Yeah, so I have about 11,000 on Instagram, about 28,000 I think on Facebook, and maybe 30,000. I have 2 channels on YouTube, so maybe it's like 50,000 total on YouTube. So, right, and that's not optimizing anything, not knowing what I was doing, just being somewhat consistent and showing up. And how can I help as many people as possible by providing free value?
Absolutely. I'm impressed. 30,000, followers to your message and your brand. That's more than a start. For someone who was a little bit intimidated in the beginning about, making videos and putting yourself out there, I think that that's an achievement. And I think, like Sonia says, it makes you a legend. And so, I think
chick's a legend. She's a legend too. Don't let her kid you, that girl.
Hey, I went out there and I found a video of you in action, and I want to show people that video. So sit tight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to show
Oh
you a
boy.
little bit of Michelle Cunningham in action. So give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
I can't wait to see what he puts. Oh, you never know. Could be a
Yeah.
blooper reel for all we know.
Ladies and gentlemen, as I pull up this video, I want you to be thinking about your life. Think about the change that you could be making today. Let's go.
Hey there, are you in network marketing or in hosting home parties? And do you feel like you need just a little more time in your day so you can get it all done so you can be as successful as you want to be in your network marketing business? If so, stick with me. My name is Michelle Cunningham. In this video, I'm going to let you in on a little secret that has allowed me to grow an 8-figure network marketing team, all while being a stay-at-home mom to a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old and raising them while they were little babies. As a network marketing trainer, I see a lot of people struggle in this industry, and there's one common theme that I see over and over and over. Trying to manage it all seems impossible. You've got kids that need you. You've got homework that has to be completed. You have a house that needs to be cleaned again. You have laundry overflowing. You have a messy car. You have another job you have to go to. You have errands you have to run. And it seems overwhelming to try to get it all done. Have you ever felt overwhelmed with all that's required of you? Have you ever wished there was an easier way? Have you ever wondered why your business is not moving at the rate that you actually want it to move forward at? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I have a solution for you. You see, I saw this happening repeatedly to people in the industry, and I said, you know what? People need a simple plan. They need a guide. And so I put together a guide just for you. It's called How to Manage It All and Still Stay Sane. And it's a 24-page guide and gives you all of my insider secrets on how I'm able to manage it all, take care of family, kids, the house, and also manage a business while still feeling balanced. So all you have to do to grab it is just click the link right here, and I'll see you on the other side.
Wow. Wow. So this is one of the biggest values that I think comes out of our meeting you today here on America's Next Motivator, is that there are women out there who have children, mothers, full-time mothers out there, and they often wonder, just like you talked about in that video, how do I manage it all and push my life forward? So can you take a few seconds and speak to the mothers out there who are exactly in that space where they're trying to figure out how to do everything at the same time?
Yeah. I think I learned that initially when I was pretty broke, right? I had given up my income and I was like, oh, I got to make this work. I realized that there was so much things that I was spending time doing that were not going to produce me income. Cleaning toilets, vacuuming the house, making the beds, taking care of the kids. And all of that, it's like I was trying to build a business, yet there wasn't enough of me to go around. And so I initially started off, I said, you know what, I'm going to take $10 this week from my business and I'm going to hire someone for 1 hour to come and do that stuff. 1 hour a week, can you just run around and clean the beds and, do the laundry, catch everything up for me? And so it started as just $10 a week. And then it was when they were there, I was then able, they were watching the kids and cleaning. They were being me. I was able to take that solid hour and book more appointments and sell more things so that it produced another, sometimes it was $200 of income, right? And then I was okay, let's pluck $30 out of that. Next week, we're going to get 3 hours of help, right? So that's how it started for me. It was just these little 10, how can I turn that? When that person came over, I would run into my office. They must have thought I was crazy. Actually, they probably would say I was crazy because I went into crazy psycho work mode. Everyone that worked for me only saw me working. They never saw me relax. They were like, you need to take a vacation. I'm like, no, I do that when you're not here. But when you come here, I go into work mode. So they would come over. I'm like, okay, I'm off. And I would run and work, produce income to then be able to afford the work the next week. And then I started to realize, ooh, I could hire somebody to then book more appointments for me. So I started to give someone $10 and I'd say, can you book more appointments? And they would book enough appointments that would make me another $300 the next week. So then there was more money to put back. So literally, if someone is I'm broke, well, could you come up with $10 this week? That was how I started for me. I was broke.
Right.
But also in being broke, I lived with less. That was a period in my life where I was I don't deserve gum. I'm not buying cheese. That's for rich people. I will buy salt to put on my eggs because salt is like cheese,
Right.
and I didn't get gum. I didn't go to Starbucks. I didn't get my nails done. No massages. Some people are I'm so broke. I'm like, no, look at you. You look pretty good. You're spending too much money on stuff that doesn't matter. You can do that when you're wealthy. But right now, take it back. Like you could have 2 or 3 outfits. You know, I'm a minimalist at heart.
Right.
So I scaled way back, and I didn't go out to dinner, and I didn't do movies, and I didn't go to restaurants. I gave up so much to then get to the next level. And so many people aren't willing to make that sacrifice. Live for 1 year like nobody does. You can live for the rest of life like nobody can. And I had a lot of big years where I was sacrificing a lot.
An appointment scheduler. What's the official title of that person, and exactly what were they scheduling for you?
Yeah. So in my job, when I worked as a network marketer, when I was selling those products, our goal was to find new clients. So we would get leads, and then we would get them all different ways. We would get leads. People would give us referrals, or we'd put jars around town and people would enter to win a free session with us. But either way, to book those people, we would get them booked for an upcoming appointment. So they would typically come to my house, or I'd go to their house, and they would try my products. I'd do my product presentation, kind of like the vacuum guys that sell a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
I would bring my beauty supplies and be like, hey, everyone, let me show you how to put on your makeup and look beautiful. So I'd give that 45-minute presentation, and at the end, they could buy from me. So in order to book those people, every week I was like, how can I get in front of 25 people this week? That was every single week for my entire career. How can I get in front of 25 people every single week? So that was always what I was working on. 25, 25, 25.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Ladies, mothers, professionals, peers who are out there, what we're learning from Michelle today is the importance of focusing on what you can do to become more productive in your life financially, so that you can do all the other things that you want to do more effectively. And it's impossible to make money while you're being a homemaker. And I love the way that you thought about it, and you said, you know what, this is possible. Why don't I hire someone who can help me to do the things in the home so that I can go back and go into my office and make money during that time? Ladies and gentlemen out there, hire someone who can help you. Is that person called a nanny? What's the name of what's the correct name of the person that you call for help like that?
Well, initially I called it a babysitter, but then when it became like, this eventually grew where I'm like, this is addicting. Now I will make more money and have a full-time nanny. So I eventually got to that point where I had a full-time nanny, but I certainly didn't start there. I just had a high school babysitter who was like 16 years old and loved to run around the house and help. So just hire a babysitter. And I told the babysitter, you're me. So you can do anything me would do. Me cooks dinner. Me does laundry. I clean the floors. You are now me. I don't care what you do. Me, just go do it. You know?
That's right. But that's huge though. That's huge. I appreciate everyone who remains in the conversation as we get through the part where our guest shows you grit. She developed grit. She said, you know what? I'm not going to go for the gum today. I'm not going to go for the movies this weekend. I am going to make the sacrifice that's going to allow me to manifest my goals. She decided to make the sacrifice to manifest her goals. And I'm inspired by that today. You hired a helper. You hired a babysitter who became a nanny. You hired someone to schedule your appointments, and all these things enabled you to become the success that we see today. So everybody take those bits of wisdom and apply them to your journey. It's not impossible for you to change your life. It's not impossible for you to overcome the stress and you're feeling like I'm a woman in this society and therefore I have to either be less or do stuff I really don't want to do, such as making beds. Now, we're running third base here, and I've just got a few questions for you. The first, what is survival to you?
Yeah, it's a great question. Survival is just getting up every day and knowing that you are in charge of your life, right? Like so many people are like, oh, it's my fault. Or they blame other things on other people. They never take blame. And so for me, if I'm like complaining, I didn't work out this week, or I didn't drink enough water, I'm not taking care of myself, or I'm not working my business, that's on me. So survival is you are in charge of your life, and just remembering that it's not up to someone else. It's up to you to make things happen.
What is success to you?
Success is having balance in business and in family. So my family is everything for me. And so I say no to a lot of things that doesn't serve that outline. If it's going to take me away from my kids and my family, then I'm typically saying no to it. So, so it's really important.
In the work that you've done, did you achieve the goal of being able to spend more time with your children?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Wow.
1,000,000%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. And we're down to the final 30 seconds, but I'm just not done talking to you. How do your children feel about you being able to spend more time with them?
So this is the best story I can share with you. I was at Chipotle. My daughter looked up, she's 5, and she looked up at the people that work there and she said, Mom, people that make money go to a job. That's how they make money. And I said, yes, that's right. These people have a job. And I looked at her and I said, does mommy have a job? She goes, no. Wait, do you have a job, Mom? Do you have a job?
Wow. Wow.
So that's great.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's great. You know, in my heart, I was like, yeah.
That is great. I was going to ask, what is greatness to you?
Probably that.
Yeah, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Cunningham, I want to let you know that I've listened to your stories today. Ladies and gentlemen, get your crown emojis ready. We're letting you know that we've listened to your story today. I love how you took adversity and made it championship in your life. I'm giving you your respect today, and we're giving you your crown today while you can still receive it. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat. Do it quickly. We know that there's a little bit of a lag, but put those crowns in there. You want Michelle to see your crown? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. More crowns from Yolanda Riley. Absolutely. More crowns coming in for you. And we're letting you know, Michelle Cunningham, that you are America's next motivator.
Thank you so much. Such an honor.
Absolutely. We got crowns coming in for you. These are the crowns that you're getting here on America's Next Motivator that you talked about earlier. So many crowns coming in for you. Thanks for stopping by today. All right.
Thank you. You're amazing.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you've got to do is stop by and pick it up.